The great hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with quiet conversation as representatives from dozens of worlds took their seats. Today was special because the Xenobiology department would present their latest work on predator classification to all the new member species. Dr. Kethver stood at the front podium, his tall blue form commanding attention as his 4 eyes scanned the assembled crowd. "Welcome everyone to this important presentation," Dr. Kethver began, his voice carrying clearly through the translation devices each delegate wore. "Today we will learn about the predator efficiency rating system that has taken our scientists over 300 years to develop." The lights dimmed and a large holographic display appeared above the podium. It showed a simple chart with 7 distinct levels, each marked with different colors from green to deep red. Our classification system ranks predators from Class 1 to Class 7 based on their hunting abilities, environmental adaptability, and overall danger to other species, Dr. Kethver explained. Class 1 predators are basic hunters that rely on simple ambush tactics in single environments. Class 7 predators are theoretical apex hunters that could dominate multiple environments with perfect efficiency. The display changed to show various alien creatures as Dr. Kethver continued his explanation. A small reptilian creature appeared first, its green scales blending with jungle vegetation. Here we see the Altarian tree viper, a perfect example of Class 1 predation. These creatures wait motionless for days until small prey passes within striking distance. They are effective in their forest environment but completely helpless anywhere else. Murmurs of understanding rippled through the audience as delegates recognized similar creatures from their own worlds. The display shifted to show a larger, more imposing beast with 6 legs and razor-sharp claws. The Beetlejuice cave stalker represents Class 2 predation. These hunters actively track their prey through underground tunnel systems and show basic problem-solving abilities. They can adapt their hunting methods slightly but remain limited to cave environments. Dr. Kethver clicked his control device and the display showed an even more fearsome creature. This one had sleek black fur and moved with fluid grace across various terrain types. Class 3 brings us to the vegan night runners. These pack hunters coordinate simple strategies and can pursue prey across different ground types within their planetary environment. They show the first signs of true tactical thinking. The audience leaned forward with increased interest as the classifications moved higher. A delegate from the Centauri system nodded approvingly as the next creature appeared on screen. Our Class 4 predators include the famous Centauri shadow cats. These magnificent hunters demonstrate advanced stealth capabilities, complex pack coordination, and can successfully hunt in 3 different environmental zones on their home world. They represent the level most civilized worlds consider their apex predators. Ambassador Lythra from the Centauri delegation straightened with pride at this recognition. Her feathered crest lifted as other delegates turned to acknowledge her. Species impressive native predators, the display changed again, showing a truly massive creature that seemed to shimmer between dimensions. Its form was hard to focus on, appearing solid one moment and translucent the next. Class 5 predators are rare and dangerous. The Sarkonian void stalkers can hunt effectively in space vacuum, planetary surfaces, and even underwater environments. They possess limited phase-shifting abilities and demonstrate tactical intelligence rivaling some sapient species. General Torvik from the Sarkonian Empire shifted uncomfortably in his seat. His people had struggled for generations to protect their colonies from these creatures, before finally developing effective shield technology. Class 6 represents the theoretical limit of natural predator evolution. Dr. Kethver continued as an even more terrifying creature appeared on the display. The Rigelian bone crushers stand 4 meters tall, possess adamantine claws that can cut through most known materials, and hunt successfully in 7 different environmental types. They show advanced problem-solving skills and have been observed using simple tools. The creature on screen moved with surprising grace despite its massive size. Its 6 arms ended in claws that gleamed like metal, and its multiple eyes tracked movement with calculated precision. Several delegates unconsciously moved back in their seats. No known Class 7 predators exist in nature, Dr. Kethver explained. Such a creature would need to dominate every possible environment, show intelligence approaching sapient levels, and pose a threat to entire planetary ecosystems. Our mathematical models suggest such a predator would quickly destroy its own food chain and become extinct. The holographic display faded and the lights returned to normal. Dr. Kethver looked pleased with his presentation as delegates whispered among themselves, comparing the classifications to predators from their own worlds. This system has proven invaluable for colony planning and interspecies trade negotiations. Knowing the predator classification of potential settlement worlds helps us prepare appropriate defenses and safety measures. Several delegates nodded in agreement. The Altarian representative made notes about reclassifying some of their native species based on the new information. Are there any questions about our classification system? Dr. Kethver asked, scanning the audience with his multiple eyes. Most delegates seemed satisfied with the explanation. The system made logical sense and provided a useful framework for understanding dangerous wildlife across the galaxy. A few hands rose with technical questions about specific classification criteria, which Dr. Kethver answered with detailed explanations. In the back of the hall, Captain Rick Davis sat quietly taking notes on his tablet. The human delegation was small, consisting of only 3 representatives since Earth had joined the Galactic Council just 6 months ago. Humanity was still considered a minor species with limited influence in galactic politics. Rick had listened carefully to the entire presentation, occasionally glancing at his tablet where he had downloaded Earth's biological database before leaving home. Something about the classification system seemed incomplete to him, but he could not quite identify what bothered him about it. As Dr. Kethver prepared to conclude his presentation, Rick raised his hand. The gesture caught the attention of several nearby delegates who turned to look at the human representative. Yes, Captain Davis from Earth, Dr. Kethver acknowledged, checking his notes for the human's name. Do you have a question about our predator classification system? Rick stood up, his tablet still in hand. The hall grew quiet as delegates focused their attention on the newest member species representative. Thank you, Dr. Kethver. Your system is very interesting and well thought out, Rick began politely. I was just wondering, though, where would a tiger fit on this scale? The hall fell completely silent. Dr. Kethver's 4 eyes blinked in confusion as he processed the unfamiliar term. A tiger? Dr. Kethver repeated slowly. I am not familiar with this species from your preliminary biological surveys, Captain Davis. Could you clarify what type of creature you are referring to? Rick looked around the room at the confused faces of dozens of alien species representatives. None of them had heard of tigers, which struck him as odd given how famous they were on Earth. Tigers are from Earth, Rick explained simply. They are one of our large carnivores, though not our biggest predator. I was just curious how they would fit into your classification system. Dr. Kethver stared at Captain Davis with growing confusion. His 4 eyes blinked independently as he tried to process what the human had just said. Tigers were not mentioned in any of the preliminary biological reports Earth had submitted when joining the Galactic Council. Captain Davis, I must admit I am not familiar with this tiger species, Dr. Kethver said carefully. Could you provide more details about these creatures? Perhaps you have some data we could examine? Rick nodded and pulled out his tablet, tapping the screen several times. Of course, I have plenty of information here. Tigers are pretty well documented on Earth. The large holographic display flickered back to life as Rick wirelessly connected his tablet to the presentation system. The image that appeared made several delegates gasp audibly. A massive orange and black striped cat filled the screen, its powerful muscles rippling under distinctive fur patterns as it moved through tall grass. This is a Bengal tiger, Rick explained matter-of-factly. They typically weigh between 180 to 260 kilograms, though some males can get larger. They are solitary hunters that prefer forest and grassland environments. Dr. Kethver moved closer to the display, his scientific mind racing as he observed the creature's physical characteristics. The tiger on screen moved with fluid grace that spoke of incredible coordination and strength. Its yellow eyes tracked movement with predatory focus that made several delegates uncomfortable. The muscle definition suggests enormous physical power. Dr. Ketfer murmured more to himself than to the audience. Those claws appear retractable and the jaw structure indicates a massive bite force. Captain Davis, what prey do these tigers typically hunt? Rick scrolled through his tablet and the display changed to show footage of a tiger taking down a large buffalo. The delegates watched in stunned silence as the striped predator used a combination of stealth, speed, and raw power to bring down prey nearly twice its own size. They hunt various large mammals, Rick explained. Water buffalo, deer, wild boar. Sometimes even young elephants if the opportunity arises. They are ambush predators but also capable pursuit hunters when needed. Ambassador Lythra leaned forward in her seat, her feathered crest flattening against her skull in what her species considered a defensive posture. Captain Davis, these creatures appear to possess Class 4 or even Class 5 capabilities based on what we are seeing. Surely they must be your planet's apex predators? Rick looked surprised by the question. Tigers? No, they are definitely not our apex predators. They are impressive hunters, but we have much larger and more dangerous predators on Earth. The hall erupted in shocked chittering, clicking, and various alien expressions of disbelief. Dr. Kethfer raised his hands for quiet, his scientific curiosity, overriding his growing concern about what other creatures might exist on the human homeworld. Please continue, Captain Davis, Dr. Kethfer said. You mentioned these tigers hunt in multiple environments. Could you elaborate on their adaptability? Rick tapped his tablet again and new footage appeared. This time it showed a tiger swimming powerfully across a wide river, its massive form cutting through the water with surprising skill. Tigers are excellent swimmers, Rick explained. They regularly cross rivers and have been observed swimming several kilometers when necessary. They also climb trees despite their size, though they prefer to stay on the ground when possible. The image changed to show a tiger scaling a large tree trunk, its claws finding purchase in the bark as it pursued some unseen prey above. Remarkable, Dr. Kethver breathed. Multi-environment capability, stealth mastery, overwhelming physical power, and advanced hunting intelligence. These creatures demonstrate every characteristic we associate with high-level predator classification. General, Torvik spoke up from the seat near the front. Human, what classification would your people assign to these tiger creatures using your own standards? Rick paused to consider the question. Well, we would definitely consider them dangerous. Tigers are treated with great respect and caution. But in terms of classification, I suppose we would put them in the upper tier category. Maybe equivalent to your Class 4 or 5 designation. Upper tier but not apex, Dr. Keffer repeated slowly. Captain Davis, if these magnificent predators are not your world's most dangerous hunters, what exactly is? Rick scrolled through his tablet, bringing up a new set of files. That depends on which environment you are talking about. We have different apex predators for different environments. In the oceans, we have great white sharks and saltwater crocodiles. On land, we have polar bears, grizzly bears, and several others. In some regions, we have wolf packs that hunt cooperatively. The display began cycling through images as Rick spoke. A massive great white shark breaching the water's surface with a seal in its jaws. A polar bear standing 3 meters tall on its hind legs. A pack of wolves working together to bring down a moose. Each image brought new gasps and expressions of alarm from the assembled delegates. These are all from your homeworld? Ambassador Lythra asked, her voice pitched higher than normal. All of these apex predators coexist on the same planet? Yes, though they typically stick to their preferred environments, Rick replied. Great whites stay in the oceans, polar bears prefer Arctic regions, wolves like forests and tundra. There is some overlap, but they generally avoid direct competition. Dr. Kethfer was frantically taking notes on his own device, trying to process the implications of what he was seeing. Captain Davis, this level of predator diversity is unprecedented in our galactic survey data. Most worlds have one, perhaps two apex predators maximum. The ecological balance required to support this many high-level hunters suggests an incredibly robust ecosystem. Earth does have pretty good biodiversity, Rick agreed. We have lots of different environments and climate zones, so there is room for many different types of hunters. But where do humans fit in this ecosystem? Dr. Kethver asked, the question that was beginning to worry many delegates. With so many powerful predators, how does your species survive and thrive? Rick looked puzzled by the question. Humans? We do fine. Most of these predators avoid human settlements, and we have ways of dealing with problem animals when necessary. Tiger attacks are actually pretty rare considering how many tigers live near human communities. You coexist with these predators? General Torvik demanded. Your people live alongside creatures that could easily kill individuals? Well, yes, Rick said. Though we try to give them space and respect their territories. Most predator-human. Conflicts happen when humans enter predator territory or when the animals are sick or desperate. Generally, they prefer to avoid us. Dr. Kethver was beginning to realize that there was something fundamentally different about human ecological relationships that did not fit into any classification system he understood. The preliminary reports had focused on human technology and culture but had barely mentioned the incredible predator-versity of their homeworld. Captain Davis, Dr. Kethver said slowly, I believe we need to conduct a much more thorough review of Earth's biological systems. The information you have shared today suggests our initial assessment of your world was incomplete? Rick nodded. Agreeably. Sure, I can provide access to our biological databases. We have pretty detailed information on most of our wildlife species. As Rick began downloading files to share with the xenobiology department, delegates throughout the hall exchanged worried glances. If tigers were not even considered apex predators on the human homeworld, what did that say about the humans themselves? Dr. Kethver called an emergency meeting of the Xenobiology Committee immediately after the presentation ended. Within 2 hours, the galaxy's top predator specialists had gathered in the secure research facility deep within the Galactic Council complex. The room hummed with nervous energy as scientists from a dozen different species examined the data Captain Davis had provided. This cannot be accurate, Dr. Zermith declared, his tentacles waving frantically as he gestured at the holographic displays surrounding the committee table. No single planet could support this level of predator diversity without complete ecological collapse. The displays showed dozens of Earth's apex predators in stunning detail. Massive saltwater crocodiles that could grow over 7 meters long. Great white sharks reaching similar lengths with bite forces that crush seal. Polar bears weighing nearly 1,000 kilograms with claws like daggers. The data seemed impossible to believe. Yet the biological scans confirm everything, Dr. Kethver replied, his own disbelief evident in his voice. The genetic analysis, behavioral studies, and ecosystem modeling all support the human data. These creatures actually exist and thrive on Earth. Dr. Vexiana, the committee's specialist in evolutionary biology, manipulated one of the displays to show a detailed analysis of tiger musculature and bone density. According to these measurements, a single tiger possesses physical capabilities that exceed most Class 5 predators in our current classification system. The bite force alone registers at over 1,000 pounds per square inch. That places them well into Class 6 territory, Dr. Zermith admitted reluctantly. But they claim tigers are not even their apex predators? Look at this data on their polar bears, another display activated, showing thermal imaging of a polar bear hunting seals through Arctic ice. The massive predator moved with surprising stealth and speed despite its enormous size. The polar bear demonstrates multi-environment capability, hunting successfully on land, ice, and in water, Dr. Vexiana observed. Physical power that exceeds our Class 6 standards and intelligence levels approaching sapient problem-solving abilities. Dr. Kethver activated another display showing pack hunting behavior in wolves. These wolf packs demonstrate tactical coordination that rivals military units. They use complex strategies, adapt to changing conditions, and show clear leadership hierarchies. This is a Class 6 predator behavior pattern, Dr. Zermuth noted grimly, possibly approaching Class 7 levels when functioning as a coordinated pack. The committee worked through the night analyzing Earth's biological data. Each new species they examined seemed to break their understanding of predator classification. Great white sharks that could breach completely out of the water while hunting. Saltwater crocodiles that had remained virtually unchanged for millions of years because they had achieved perfect predator efficiency. Grizzly bears that could run faster than most vehicles while weighing over 600 kilograms. The mathematical models are clear, Dr. Vexiana announced as dawn approached. Earth supports a minimum of 15 different apex predators across various environments. Some species show clear Class 6 characteristics with several approaching theoretical Class 7 levels. This should be impossible, Dr. Zermuth repeated for the dozenth time. The energy requirements alone should prevent this level of predator density. These creatures would consume all available prey within decades. Dr. Kethver had been quietly studying one particular file throughout the night. Colleagues, I believe, I have identified the central paradox in this data. We have been analyzing these predators as if they operate in a normal ecological framework, but the evidence suggests something else entirely. He activated the main display, showing global population data for Earth's major predators. Notice the distribution patterns. Tigers, polar bears, great whites, wolves, all major predators show stable or even growing populations despite their incredible hunting efficiency. Stable populations suggest successful ecological balance, Dr. Vexiana observed. But the prey species data shows they are also maintaining healthy numbers. This defies basic predator-prey mathematical relationships. Exactly, Dr. Kethver agreed. Which brings us to the critical question none of us has been willing to ask directly. Where do humans fit in this ecosystem? The committee fell silent. As the implications of that question settled over them, they had been so focused on cataloging Earth's impressive predators that they had not considered the role of the planet's dominant sapient species. The preliminary cultural reports describe humans as omnivores with tool-using capabilities, Dr. Zermuth said slowly. They should be prey species that achieved intelligence through social cooperation and hiding from predators. But that makes no sense given their coexistence with these apex predators, Dr. Vexiana pointed out. Prey species do not typically choose to live alongside creatures capable of killing them easily. Dr. Kethver accessed another file from Captain Davis's data. I requested additional information about human-predator interactions. The results are disturbing. New displays activated showing humans interacting with various predators, videos of humans swimming with great white sharks, researchers tracking tigers on foot through dense jungle, scientists approaching polar bears in Arctic environments. They show no fear, Dr. Vexiana whispered. These humans deliberately seek out contact with apex predators that should terrify any rational prey species. Look at this data on human settlements, Dr. Kethver continued. Millions of humans live in regions with active tiger populations. Coastal communities exist alongside great white sharks and saltwater crocodiles. Northern settlements share territory with polar bears and wolf packs. Are they using advanced technology to protect themselves? Dr. Zermuth asked hopefully. Force fields, automated defense systems, something to explain their survival? Dr. Kethver shook his head. The technology reports show humans use remarkably simple tools for predator management. Basic firearms, simple barriers, elementary tracking devices. Nothing that should be effective against the Class 6 and 7 predators we have cataloged. The committee stared at the data in growing confusion and concern. Every analysis raised more questions about humanity's true place in their planet's ecosystem. There is one more piece of data I have been reluctant to share, Dr. Kethver said quietly. Captain Davis mentioned that humans have ways of dealing with problem predators when necessary. I asked for clarification on their methods. A final display activated showing hunting and wildlife management data from Earth. The numbers were staggering. Humans deliberately killed thousands of apex predators annually through regulated hunting programs. They relocated dangerous predators away from settlements. They controlled predator populations through systematic culling when necessary. They hunt the hunters, Dr. Vexiana breathed. Humans actively prey upon their planet's apex predators. This changes everything, Dr. Zermuth declared. If humans can successfully hunt Class 6 and 7 predators using primitive tools, what does that make them in terms of classification? Dr. Kethfer closed the displays and looked around the table at his colleagues. I believe we need to completely reconsider our approach to this problem. We have been trying to classify humans as another predator species, but the evidence suggests they may represent something entirely beyond our current understanding. The committee agreed to request a formal audience with Captain Davis. They needed to understand exactly how humans had achieved dominance over a planet filled with apex predators that should have driven any prey species to extinction long ago. The answer to that question would challenge every assumption they held about the nature of predation and survival in the galaxy. 3 days after the emergency committee meeting, Captain Davis found himself sitting across from the galaxy's most distinguished xenobiology experts in a secured conference room. The walls displayed constantly shifting data streams as the committee's artificial intelligence systems processed Earth's complete biological database in real time. Captain Davis, thank you for agreeing to this extended consultation, Dr. Kethfer began formally. Our preliminary analysis of your planet's ecosystem has raised several questions that challenge our fundamental understanding of predator-prey relationships. Rick nodded politely, though he still seemed puzzled by all the attention Earth's wildlife was receiving. Happy to help however I can. I brought additional data files if you need more detailed information about any specific species. Dr. Zermuth leaned forward, his tentacles arranging themselves in what his species considered an expression of deep concern. Captain, our model suggests that your planet supports predator population densities that should result in complete ecosystem collapse within decades. Yet your historical data shows these populations have remained stable for thousands of years. Well, yes, Rick agreed. Most of our major predator species have been around for a very long time. Tigers, sharks, crocodiles, bears, they have all coexisted pretty successfully throughout recorded history. But how? Dr. Vexiana interjected. The energy mathematics simply do not work. 15 separate apex predators competing for the same prey base should result in either extinction through starvation or territorial wars that eliminate most species. Rick looked thoughtful for a moment. I think you might be misunderstanding something about how our ecosystem works. These predators are not really competing with each other. They each have their own preferred environments and prey species. Dr. Kethfer activated a holographic display showing Earth's continental maps. Could you explain the territorial divisions? Our analysis suggests significant overlap in predator ranges. Sure, Rick said, standing to point at different regions. On the map, tigers primarily stick to forests and grasslands in Asia. Polar bears stay in Arctic regions. Great whites patrol deep ocean waters. Grizzly bears prefer mountain and forest areas in North America. There is some overlap, but they generally avoid direct competition. That explains habitat separation, Dr. Vexiana acknowledged. But what prevents territorial expansion? Successful predators typically spread into new areas until they encounter effective resistance. Rick paused, considering how to explain something that seemed obvious to him. Well, they do try to expand sometimes. When that happens, we usually have to step in and manage the situation. Manage? Dr. Zermuth repeated carefully. What do you mean by manage? Wildlife management is pretty standard on Earth, Rick explained. When predator populations get too large or start causing problems for human settlements, we implement control measures. Sometimes we relocate animals to less populated areas. Sometimes we have to reduce population numbers through regulated hunting. The committee exchanged glances that conveyed volumes of concern. Dr. Kethfer spoke slowly, choosing his words carefully. Captain Davis, when you say humans hunt these apex predators, could you provide more specific details about these activities? Rick accessed his tablet, and new data streams appeared on the wall displays. Here are the annual hunting statistics for major predator species. We take several thousand tigers per year through managed hunting programs. Polar bear hunts are more restricted because their populations are smaller. Shark fishing is a major industry in many coastal regions. The numbers scrolling across the displays made several committee members visibly uncomfortable. Humans were deliberately killing apex predators by the thousands annually. These creatures we have classified as Class 6 and 7 predators, Dr. Vexiana said quietly. Your people hunt them regularly using what weapons? Mostly rifles, Rick answered matter-of-factly. Some bow hunting for sport, traditional spear hunting in certain cultures. Commercial fishing uses nets and harpoons for sharks. Dr. Cuthver felt his worldview shifting as he processed this information. Captain, you are describing the systematic predation of apex predators using primitive projectile weapons. How is this possible without massive human casualties? Rick looked genuinely confused by the question. Casualties? Tiger attacks are pretty rare, maybe a few hundred people per year globally. Shark attacks are even less common. Bear attacks happen, but usually only when people do something stupid like get between a mother and her cubs. A few hundred casualties per year, Dr. Zermeth repeated in disbelief. Your species suffers minimal losses while actively hunting creatures that could easily kill individual humans. Well, yes, Rick said. Humans are pretty good at hunting. We have been doing it for thousands of years. These predators are dangerous if you are careless or unprepared, but they are just animals. Dr. Vexiana activated a new display showing comparative intelligence analysis. Captain, our cognitive assessment suggests that several of your apex predators demonstrate near-sapient problem-solving abilities. How do humans consistently outperform creatures with such advanced hunting intelligence? Rick thought about this question more carefully. I suppose it comes down to tools and planning. A tiger is incredibly strong and fast, but it hunts by instinct and immediate opportunity. Humans can plan complex strategies, use ranged weapons, work in coordinated teams, and adapt our tactics based on what we learn about our prey. You study your prey? Dr. Keffer said, the implications becoming clearer. Humans research the behavior patterns, weaknesses, and preferences of apex predators before hunting them. Of course, Rick replied. You do not go after a tiger the same way you hunt a shark or a bear. Each species requires different approaches, different equipment, different safety precautions. We have detailed studies on all major predator species going back centuries. The committee realized they were witnessing something unprecedented. Humans had not simply co-evolved with apex predators. They had systematically studied, categorized, and developed hunting strategies for every dangerous species on their planet. Captain Davis, Dr. Keffer said slowly, our classification system ranks predators based on their hunting efficiency and environmental adaptability. Based on what you have described, how would humans rank compared to tigers, sharks, and bears? Rick considered this question seriously for the first time. That is an interesting way to think about it. Humans can hunt successfully in every environment. On Earth, we hunt in oceans, forests, deserts, Arctic regions, mountains, wherever we need to go. We can kill any animal on the planet if we put our minds to it. Any animal? Dr. Vexiana asked, including your apex predators? Including anything, Rick confirmed. Blue whales, great whites, polar bears, tigers, whatever. The main limitation is usually legal restrictions or conservation concerns, not capability. Dr. Zermeth spoke the question they were all thinking. Captain, if humans can successfully hunt every other predator species on your planet, what does that make humans in? The food chain? Rick paused, finally understanding why these alien scientists seemed so concerned about Earth's ecosystem. I guess that makes us the apex predators. Not just apex, but something beyond that since we can hunt the other apex predators. Beyond apex? Dr. Kethfer repeated quietly. The committee sat in stunned silence as the full implications settled. Over them, humans had not simply survived on a world filled with super predators. They had achieved complete dominance over creatures that individually outclassed most sapient species in the galaxy, but the most disturbing revelation was still to come. The Xenobiology Committee worked for 2 weeks analyzing every piece of data they had gathered about Earth and humanity. Their findings were so unprecedented that Dr. Kethfer called for an emergency session of the full Galactic Council. Representatives from across known space gathered to hear what many suspected would be the most important xenobiology presentation in galactic history. Esteemed colleagues, Dr. Kethfer began as he stood before the packed assembly hall, our investigation into human ecology has revealed findings that challenge everything we thought we understood about predator classification and ecosystem management. The main display activated, showing the familiar predator classification chart from Class 1 through Class 7. Our existing system assumes that predators operate within ecological boundaries, competing for resources and territory according to natural selection principles. Humans represent something entirely different. A new section appeared on the chart above Class 7, marked in colors that had never been used in previous classifications. After extensive analysis, we must conclude that humans cannot be classified within our traditional predator rating system. They have transcended the fundamental limitations that define predatory behavior in nature. General Torvik interrupted from his front row seat. Dr. Kethfer, are you claiming that humans are Class 7 predators? The theoretical maximum? No, General, Dr. Kethfer replied seriously. Humans are beyond Class 7. They represent a classification we never imagined possible. We are proposing a new category, Class Omega, Environmental Architects. Confused murmurs rippled through the assembly as delegates tried to understand what this new classification meant. Dr. Vexiana took over the presentation, activating displays that showed global ecosystem management data from Earth. Traditional predators are constrained by their environment, their prey species, and their physical capabilities. Humans have removed all these constraints through technology, planning, and systematic ecosystem manipulation. The displays showed vast human settlements that had been built in the territories of apex predators, cities that existed alongside tiger populations, coastal communities that thrived despite shark-infested waters, Arctic research stations operating in polar bear territory. Humans do not avoid other predators, Dr. Vexiana explained. They coexist with them by choice, managing predator populations to maintain desired ecosystem balance. Ambassador Lithra stood to address the committee. Are you saying humans control these apex predators? How is such control possible? Captain Davis, who had been observing quietly from the back of the hall, stepped forward. If I may address that question? Dr. Kethfer nodded, and Rick approached the podium. I think there might be some misunderstanding about human intentions. We do not try to control other species for dominance or power. We manage ecosystems because we have learned that healthy ecosystems benefit everyone, including us. He activated his tablet, and new data appeared on the displays. These are our wildlife preservation programs. We maintain protected areas where predators can live without human interference. We breed endangered species to increase their populations. We relocate problem animals instead of killing them whenever possible. The images showed vast national parks, wildlife breeding facilities, and conservation programs. Humans were not just hunting apex predators, but actively working to ensure their survival. But why? Dr. Zermuth asked, genuine confusion evident in his voice. If humans can eliminate these dangerous predators, why preserve them? Rick looked surprised by the question. Because they are important to the ecosystem. Tigers control herbivore populations. Sharks maintain fish population balance. Wolves prevent overgrazing. Every predator serves a purpose in maintaining ecological stability. You preserve your competitors, General Torvik said slowly, because you understand their ecological value. They are not really our competitors, Rick corrected gently. We stopped being part of the normal food chain thousands of years ago. These predators do not threaten human survival, so we can appreciate their role in maintaining planetary health. Dr. Kethver resumed control of the presentation. This is what makes humans environmental architects rather than traditional predators. They have achieved complete ecological dominance while maintaining ecosystem stability. New displays showed comparative data from other worlds in the galaxy. Every other sapient species we have studied either eliminated their major predators during their development or remained constrained by them. Humans alone have achieved a relationship of managed coexistence. Dr. Vexiana added more disturbing data. Our analysis suggests humans could eliminate any species on their planet within decades if they chose to do so. They possess the technology, coordination, and numbers to hunt any creature to extinction quickly. But they choose not to, Dr. Kethver emphasized. Instead, they have created artificial breeding programs, protected territories, and population management systems to ensure species survival. The implications were staggering. Humans had become ecosystem gods, deciding which species lived, which died, and in what numbers they would be permitted to exist. There is one more aspect we must address, Dr. Kethver said grimly. Humans have also domesticated versions of some predator species. New images appeared showing dogs, cats, and birds of prey living alongside humans as companions and working animals. They have taken wolves, small cats, and raptors and bred them into forms that serve human purposes, Dr. Vexiana explained. They have turned predators into tools and companions. The assembly fell silent as the full scope of human capabilities became clear. Not only could humans hunt any predator on their planet, but they could also reshape predator species to serve their needs. Captain Davis spoke into the silence. I hope you understand that we do not see this as domination or control. We see it as responsibility. When your species becomes capable of affecting entire ecosystems, you have an obligation to use that power wisely. That, Dr. Kethver said, quietly, is exactly what makes humans environmental architects rather than predators. They have moved beyond predation to ecosystem stewardship. The Galactic Council voted unanimously to create the new Class Omega classification. It would be reserved for species that had transcended traditional predator-prey relationships and become shapers of entire planetary ecosystems. As the session concluded, delegates filed out in thoughtful silence. Throughout the galaxy, predator species that had thought themselves apex hunters would sleep less soundly knowing that somewhere in the cosmos there existed beings who managed tigers as a minor consideration in their planetary stewardship duties. Dr. Kethver approached Captain Davis as the hall emptied. Captain, your species' presentation has fundamentally changed our understanding of what is possible in evolutionary development. We are honored to learn from you. Rick smiled and shook the alien scientist's hand. The honor is ours, Dr. Kethver. We look forward to sharing what we have learned about ecosystem management and hopefully learning from other species about their approaches to planetary stewardship. As the human representative left the hall, Dr. Kethver reflected on how a simple question about tigers had revealed that humanity represented something unprecedented in galactic civilization. They were not just another species to be cataloged and classified. They were environmental architects who had achieved something the galaxy had never seen before: complete ecological mastery combined with responsible stewardship. The question now was whether other species were ready to learn from these remarkable beings who treated apex predators as just another part of the ecosystem they had chosen to protect and manage.